Leadership is often seen as a spotlight role, a position of power, influence, and authority. People look at the leader standing in front, making decisions, giving direction, and carrying the vision. But what they don't always see is what happens behind the leader. True leadership isn't about standing taller than others, it's about kneeling to serve. It's not about having the loudest voice in the room, it's about having the clearest vision. And it's certainly not about being at the top, it's about bringing others up with you. Behind every great leader, there are sacrifices no one talks about. The sleepless nights filled with uncertainty. The weight of decisions that affect not just the organization, but the lives of the people within it. The moments of self-doubt, questioning whether they're the right person for the job. Because leadership is not a destination, it's a journey. And the path is never easy. But here's the truth, leadership isn't about having all the answers, it's about asking the right questions. It's not about being perfect, it's about being intentional. The best leaders don't strive to be the smartest in the room, they strive to create a room full of smart people. Great leaders are not measured by their position, but by their impact. They understand that leadership is never about them, it's about the people they serve. They don't just build teams, they build trust. They don't just give orders, they give opportunities. And above all, they don't just chase success, they create significance. So if you want to lead, don't focus on the title. Focus on the responsibility. If you want to inspire, don't seek attention, seek growth. Because at the end of the day, leadership isn't about what you do when people are watching, it's about who you are when no one is looking. Well, and the rest will follow. Expand key point, no. 1 in 700 words, according to prompt without a hitting, and flow speech naturally according to overall key points, and add only the necessary ending line. Leadership is often misunderstood. Many believe it comes with power, prestige, and privilege. They see leadership as a position that elevates them above others, a place where decisions are made and commands are given. But real leadership has never been about titles or authority. It has always been about service. The best leaders are not those who demand recognition, but those who dedicate themselves to the success of others. They do not see people as tools to accomplish their vision, but as the very reason the vision exists. Leadership is not a platform for self-promotion. It is a responsibility to lift, guide, and empower. The truth about leadership is that it often requires putting others first. It is choosing to invest in people even when there is no immediate return. It is standing in the background so others can shine. It is about seeing potential in people before they see it in themselves and helping them rise to their best. A leader who serves does not measure success by personal achievements, but by the growth and progress of those around them. But service is not easy. Leadership requires sacrifice, and that sacrifice often goes unnoticed. A leader carries the burdens of the team, absorbs the pressures that come with responsibility, and makes decisions that are not always popular but necessary. It is far easier to lead for personal gain than to lead for the sake of others. Yet the leaders who stand the test of time, the ones who leave a lasting impact, are those who understand that their success is found in the success of those they lead. One of the greatest marks of a true leader is the willingness to do what they ask others to do. They don't just instruct, they model. They don't just point the way, they walk alongside. Leaders who serve create cultures where people feel valued, where teamwork thrives, and where individuals are willing to give their best not because they are forced to, but because they are inspired to. When leaders put service above status, they build trust. People follow not because they have to, but because they want to. They commit not out of obligation, but out of belief. A leader's ability to serve determines their ability to influence. Influence is not demanded, it is earned. And it is earned through consistency, humility, and a commitment to something greater than oneself. Some may think that serving others means becoming weak or passive. But leadership through service is not about stepping back, it is about stepping up in the right way. It requires strength to put others ahead of oneself. It takes courage to lead with humility. It takes wisdom to realize that leadership is not about control, but about contribution. A leader's job is not to be the most important person in the room, but to make everyone in the room feel important. The best leaders understand that their role is not to build a legacy for themselves, but to build people who will carry the vision forward long after they are gone. Leadership that is focused on service creates impact beyond a single generation. It transforms workplaces, families, and communities because it is rooted in something deeper than personal ambition. It is rooted in purpose. If leadership is about power, it fades. If leadership is about serving others, it lasts. Titles can be given, but true leadership must be earned. And it is earned through a commitment to people. A leader who serves does not seek to be the center of attention, but rather seeks to center others in their growth. In the end, leadership is not about how many people follow you, but how many people you empower to lead. It is not about the praise you receive, but the lives you impact. Leadership is a privilege, not a right. And the greatest leaders are not those who strive to be at the top, but those who are willing to lift others up. Leadership is often admired from a distance. People see the authority, the influence, and the recognition. They see the leader standing confidently in front, casting vision, making decisions, and rallying others toward a goal. But what they don't always see is what happens behind the leader, the unseen weight, the sacrifices, and the burdens that come with true leadership. The reality of leadership is that it carries a cost. It is not just about standing in front. It is about carrying the responsibility that comes with it. Every great leader knows the feeling of making difficult choices that affect not just themselves but the lives of many. They know the pressure of uncertainty, the weight of expectations, and the loneliness that often accompanies leadership. Leadership demands more than what is seen on the surface. There are moments of exhaustion that no one acknowledges, nights of worry that no one witnesses, and sacrifices that no one praises. A leader often bears the weight of problems they did not create but must solve. They must make decisions that may not be understood in the moment, knowing they will be judged by the outcomes. They must stay steady when others are shaken, remain strong when others waver, and keep moving forward even when doubt creeps in. One of the greatest challenges of leadership is the responsibility it carries. It is easy to give advice from the outside, but leadership requires making choices with real consequences. A leader does not have the luxury of avoiding tough decisions. They must step into uncertainty with confidence, even when they don't have all the answers. They must take responsibility for failures, even when they are not entirely their fault. True leadership is not about shifting blame. It is about owning the mission, no matter the challenges that arise. But despite the weight great leaders press on, they do not lead for comfort or convenience. They lead because they are driven by a purpose greater than themselves. They understand that leadership is not about being served, but about serving others. They recognize that their role is not just to succeed, but to help others succeed. And that often means putting their own needs, comforts, and sometimes even their personal dreams aside for the sake of those they lead. The unseen weight of leadership also comes in the form of emotional and mental resilience. Leaders must be the steady force in times of crisis. They must absorb fear without passing it down, remain composed under pressure, and continue to inspire confidence even when they themselves feel uncertain. They must give strength to others even on the days when they feel weak. They must navigate conflict with wisdom, handle criticism with grace, and remain focused when distractions arise. Leadership requires a level of endurance that few truly understand until they step into it. But despite the hardships, the sacrifices, and the pressures, true leaders do not quit. They may stumble, they may struggle, but they do not give up. Because leadership is not about ease, it is about impact. And the weight they carry is a reflection of the responsibility they have chosen. Leadership is not meant to be comfortable. It is meant to be significant. And significance always comes with a cost. The best leaders understand this and embrace it, not because it is easy, but because it is worth it. They know that their sacrifices today create a better future for those who follow. They understand that true leadership is not about gaining recognition, but about making a difference. And they are willing to carry the weight, even when no one sees it, because they know that is what real leadership demands. Leadership is not about having all the answers. Many believe that to lead effectively, they must always know what to do, always have the right solution, and always be the most knowledgeable person in the room. But the greatest leaders understand that their strength does not come from what they know, it comes from their ability to ask the right questions. A leader's ability to guide is not determined by their intelligence alone, but by their willingness to learn. Leadership is not about showing off knowledge, it is about seeking wisdom. A leader who assumes they have all the answers stops growing. And when a leader stops growing, so does everyone they lead. The best leaders do not pretend to know everything. They surround themselves with people who can help them see what they cannot see. Asking the right questions is what separates good leaders from great ones. Questions invite perspective. They create conversation. They empower others to think, contribute, and take ownership. A leader who asks questions is not showing weakness, they are showing strength. It takes humility to admit that you do not know everything. It takes confidence to seek input from others. And it takes wisdom to understand that the collective knowledge of a team will always be greater than the knowledge of one individual. Great leaders are not afraid to ask, "What do you think?" They do not hesitate to seek advice, to listen before speaking, and to challenge their own assumptions. They understand that leadership is not about always being right, it is about always being willing to learn. And when a leader fosters an environment where questions are encouraged, they create a culture of growth, innovation, and trust. People do not follow leaders because they have all the answers. They follow leaders who make them feel heard. They follow leaders who create opportunities for discussion, who value different perspectives, and who are not threatened by new ideas. A leader who asks questions builds stronger teams because they make others feel valued. They allow others to bring their best thinking to the table, rather than simply following orders without understanding the why behind them. But asking questions is not enough. Leaders must also be willing to listen. Too often leaders ask for input, but are too busy preparing their response to truly hear what is being said. Listening is one of the most powerful tools a leader has. It builds trust, strengthens relationships, and leads to better decisions. A leader who listens well understands problems before trying to fix them. They recognize what their team needs, not just what they assume their team needs. The ability to ask the right questions also applies to personal growth. The best leaders are constantly evaluating themselves, reflecting on their decisions, and asking, "How can I improve?" They do not shy away from feedback, they seek it. They do not fear correction, they embrace it. Leadership is not about perfection, it is about progress. And progress is only possible when a leader is willing to challenge their own thinking and adjust their course when necessary. Some leaders resist asking questions because they believe it makes them appear uncertain or weak. But the opposite is true. The most confident leaders are those who are secure enough to admit they do not have all the answers. They do not let pride get in the way of progress. They do not allow ego to stop them from learning. They know that leadership is not about knowing everything, it is about leading people to discover the best way forward together. A leader's influence is not built on how much they know, but on how well they empower others to grow. The greatest leaders are not those who dictate, they are those who inspire. They do not just give instructions, they create conversations. They do not seek to be the smartest in the room, they seek to surround themselves with the smartest people and give them the freedom to contribute. Leadership is a journey of learning, and the best leaders never stop asking, never stop listening, and never stop growing. They understand that their job is not to be the source of all knowledge, but to be the guide who helps others uncover the best solutions. And when they lead with curiosity, humility, and a commitment to learning, they not only grow themselves, they help everyone around them grow as well. Leadership is not measured by position. It is not about a title, a corner office, or the authority to make decisions. Too often people associate leadership with status, believing that the person at the top is automatically the leader. But true leadership is never about position, it is about impact. A leader's worth is not defined by how many people report to them, but by how many people they lift up. Leadership is not about power, it is about influence. A person may hold a high-ranking position, but if no one trusts them, respects them, or believes in their vision, their title means nothing. On the other hand, a person with no official authority can have a profound impact simply because of how they serve, inspire, and empower those around them. The greatest leaders understand that their job is not to be above others, but to bring others up. They do not lead for personal gain, they lead to make a difference. Their focus is not on gaining recognition, but on creating lasting change. They do not seek followers, they develop more leaders. And their success is not determined by how far they rise, but by how far they help others go. Many people chase titles, thinking leadership begins the moment they reach a certain level. But leadership does not start when you get a title, it starts when you make an impact. Influence is built over time through consistency, trust, and a commitment to adding value to others. The best leaders do not wait for permission to lead. They see a need, take responsibility, and step up to make things better. Leadership is not about being in charge, it is about taking care of those in your charge. It is about making decisions that benefit others, even when they are difficult. It is about prioritizing people over personal gain. A leader who is focused only on position will make choices based on what benefits them. A leader who is focused on impact will make choices based on what benefits the team, the organization, or the mission. Some of the most impactful leaders in history never held high positions. They did not have authority handed to them, yet their influence changed the world. They led not because they were given a title, but because they had a vision, a purpose, and a relentless commitment to making a difference. Their impact was not measured in awards or promotions, but in the lives they touched and the change they created. A leader's impact is determined by their ability to inspire others to be better, to grow, and to contribute. It is not about controlling people, it is about empowering them. The best leaders create environments where others feel valued, where ideas are encouraged, and where people are challenged to reach their full potential. They do not micromanage, they trust. They do not demand excellence, they develop it. This kind of leadership requires humility. It requires a leader to put aside personal ambition and focus on a greater purpose. It requires the ability to listen, to adapt, and to serve. True leadership is not about how much recognition a person receives, but about how much they give. A leader's legacy is not built on personal success, but on the success they create for others. Leadership is not about climbing to the top and looking down. It is about reaching the top and pulling others up with you. It is about making sure that when you leave, what you have built continues to grow. Titles may be temporary, but impact lasts. A leader's influence is not determined by where they sit in an organization, but by how they make people feel, how they help others grow, and they create a culture where everyone thrives. The best leaders do not lead for themselves, they lead for those around them. They do not seek power, they seek purpose. They do not chase titles, they chase transformation. And when they focus on impact rather than position, they create leadership that lasts beyond their time, beyond their title, and beyond their own success. Leadership is not about standing above others, it is about standing with them. The best leaders understand that their success is not measured by how much control they have, but by how much trust they build. Trust is the foundation of leadership. Without it, people may comply, but they will never fully commit. Without trust, a leader may have authority, but they will never have influence. Trust is not given automatically, it is earned. It is built through consistency, integrity, and genuine care for others. A leader who builds trust does not just focus on results, they focus on relationships. They do not just give instructions, they create connections. They do not just expect loyalty, they demonstrate it first. People follow leaders they believe in, and belief is created when a leader proves, through actions rather than words, that they are reliable, honest, and committed to the good of the team. But trust alone is not enough. A leader who builds trust must also create opportunities. Leadership is not about keeping power, it is about sharing it. A great leader does not seek to be the only strong voice in the room. Instead, they empower others to speak, to contribute, and to lead in their own right. They do not see their role as one of control, but as one of elevation, lifting others to new heights by creating an environment where they can grow, succeed, and thrive. Opportunities do not happen by accident. A leader must be intentional about giving others room to develop their skills, take on new responsibilities, and step into leadership roles themselves. This means trusting people with real responsibilities, even when there is risk involved. It means allowing them to make mistakes, to learn, and to improve. Leadership is not about protecting people from failure. It is about preparing them to handle it and grow from it. Too often, leaders hold on too tightly. They believe that if they want something done right, they must do it themselves. But real leadership is not about doing everything alone. It is about equipping others to succeed. A leader's legacy is not built on personal accomplishments, but on the leaders they develop along the way. When a leader hoards opportunities, they create followers. When a leader shares opportunities, they create more leaders. Empowering others does not mean stepping back completely. It means guiding, mentoring, and providing support while allowing people to step forward. It means recognizing strengths in others and giving them space to use those strengths. It means believing in people before they even believe in themselves and giving them the confidence to rise to new challenges. A leader who builds trust and gives opportunities creates a culture of ownership. When people feel trusted, they take greater responsibility for their work. When they are given opportunities, they feel valued and motivated to contribute their best. Trust and opportunity go hand in hand. One cannot exist without the other. Trust without opportunity leaves people feeling stagnant, while opportunity without trust leaves people feeling uncertain. But when both are present, People flourish and teams become stronger. This kind of leadership is not just about what happens in an organization, it applies to all areas of life. A great teacher does not just deliver lessons, they create an environment where students feel safe to ask questions and explore new ideas. A great coach does not just give instructions, they empower players to think, adapt, and take responsibility for their own success. A great parent does not just enforce rules, they guide, support, and prepare their children to make wise choices on their own. The principle is the same in leadership. The goal is not to create dependence, but to create growth. It takes humility to lead this way. It requires a leader to set aside their ego and recognize that their greatest achievement is not what they accomplish alone, but what they help others accomplish. It requires patience because developing people takes time. It requires courage because giving responsibility means giving up some control. But the leaders who choose to lead this way leave the deepest impact. At the end of the day, leadership is not about what you can do, it is about what you can help others do. It is not about being the center of attention, it is about creating an environment where everyone has a chance to shine. The leaders who build trust and give opportunities are the ones who build lasting success because they create something bigger than themselves. They create a legacy of leaders who continue to grow, lead, and inspire long after they are gone. Leadership is not about the leader. The best leaders understand that their role is not to be at the center, but to create something that lasts beyond them. True leadership is not measured by what happens while a leader is present, but by what remains when they are gone. Legacy is the ultimate test of leadership, and the greatest leaders build something that outlives them. A leader's impact is not determined by how much they accomplish personally, but by how well they prepare others to continue the mission. Too often, leaders become so focused on their own success that they fail to think about what happens after them. But leadership is not about being indispensable, it is about creating sustainability. A leader's real success is not in making people dependent on them, but in equipping others to lead when they are no longer there. Great leaders do not build monuments to themselves, they build people, teams, and cultures that continue to thrive in their absence. They do not seek short-term victories at the cost of long-term growth. They think beyond the present moment, beyond their own tenure, and beyond their own recognition. They understand that the true measure of leadership is not what they achieve alone, but what they leave behind for others to build upon. Building a lasting legacy requires intentionality. It does not happen by accident. It requires a leader to develop and mentor others, to pass on wisdom, and to create systems that do not rely on a single person's presence. It means teaching others not just what to do, but why it matters. It means instilling values, vision, and principles that remain even when leadership changes. One of the greatest mistakes a leader can make is failing to prepare the next generation. Some leaders hold on too tightly, believing that if they step aside, things will fall apart. But true leadership is about succession. It is about ensuring that what has been built continues to grow. It is about finding and developing people who will carry the vision forward. A leader who does not invest in others is not building a legacy, they are simply running a temporary operation. The best leaders see potential in people before they see it in themselves. They recognize future leaders, invest in them, and challenge them to rise. They do not hoard knowledge, they share it. They do not guard opportunities for themselves, they create opportunities for others. They do not fear being replaced, they prepare for it. Because they understand that real leadership is not about being needed, it is about making a lasting impact. Legacy is not just about structure, it is about culture. It is about the way a leader treats people, the values they instill, and the example they set. People may forget what a leader said, but they will never forget how a leader made them feel. The greatest leaders leave behind not just strategies and plans, but a culture of trust, empowerment, and purpose. Leaders who think about legacy lead differently. They are not concerned with personal gain, but with collective success. They do not seek to be the center of attention, but to create something bigger than themselves. They focus not just on what they can achieve now, but on what they can set in motion for the future. They do not measure success by their own accomplishments, but by the impact they have on others. A leader's true legacy is written in the lives they have influenced. It is seen in the people they have mentored, the teams they have strengthened, and the leaders they have developed. The greatest leaders do not just leave behind memories, they leave behind movements. They do not just finish their own race, they set others up to run even farther. At the end of a leader's journey, the question is not how much they achieved, but how much they built for others to continue. The goal is not to be remembered for what they did, but for what they enabled others to do. The best leaders understand that their time is limited, but their impact does not have to be. And when they lead with legacy in mind, they create something that lasts far beyond their own leadership. Leadership is not about titles, power, or personal success. It is about impact, influence, and the ability to inspire others to grow. The greatest leaders are not those who stand above others, but those who stand with them, lifting them higher. They ask the right questions, embrace lifelong learning, and surround themselves with people who challenge them to be better. They do not cling to position, they focus on making a difference. They build trust, create opportunities, and empower others to lead. And above all, they understand that leadership is not about personal glory, it is about leaving behind something greater than themselves. The true test of leadership is not what you achieve while you are here, but what continues after you are gone. The mark of a great leader is not the recognition they receive, but the legacy they build. Lead with integrity, lead with purpose, and lead with a heart for others. When you do, your impact will reach far beyond your own time, creating waves of influence that will last for generations. So go forward with courage, lead with wisdom, serve with humility. And remember, leadership is not about you, it is about the lives you touch and the difference you make. Good luck on your leadership journey, and thank you.